Israelite Prepper here, and I just want to share a message to the daughters of Zion, if you will, the sisters that are out there in the truth. I heard about this book. The book is by, let me go ahead and give the proper credit. The book is by a gentleman named Bob Barnes, and it says, the title is What Makes a Man Feel Loved? Understanding What Your Husband Really Wants. Now, I didn't read, the whole book, but there's one part of the book that really, really struck me, and I wanted to share that with you guys today. And the part of the book, it's basically focused on the 10 lies that women tell themselves. And I thought it was really interesting and striking, and I'm gonna go over that in a minute. But when we look around today and we look at our sisters and stuff, a lot of our brothers, they put them down, and they can insult them. Now, are there some sisters out there who are not worthy? Are there some sisters out there that really are making the good sisters, the Proverb 31 type sisters, look bad? Absolutely. But I'm of the mind that it all starts with the leadership. It all starts with the guys. We all say, we want a Proverbs 31 type woman. We want a meek and humble woman, and, have her head covered and all that stuff. And we do. But we have to step up as men. We can't just talk about those type of things and just give them corrections. And, we're not trying to be in order. Again, none of us can be perfect, but we can do the best that we possibly can. I mean, we all, when we start getting into the law and we get into Torah, we realize that, man, we have really been messing up. So we have to look at ourselves first. The fingers should be pointing at ourselves first, gentlemen. But after we get past that, now we can address our sisters. But one of the things I realized is that a lot of the sisters were set up to fail to begin with. When you look at the 30s, 40s, 50s, the 60s and things like that, the Black struggle was for both the male and the female. And as time progressed, then there was this feminine movement, 60s, 70s, this feminist movement that told the Black woman she doesn't need the Black man. And it was all about being independent. And you can do everything. The Black man is holding you back. Obviously, there were men who were shirking their responsibilities, leaving, the sisters out there barefoot and pregnant and things like that. But look at us today. Women are having degrees and having high power positions and things like that. Yeah, there's still a little disparity in pay, but that's not the point of this video. But I think they've been set up to fail because of the lies they tell themselves. And let me go ahead and get into some of those lies. It was interesting what Bob Barnes pointed out. He said that you can have it all. That's what you're told. You're told, ladies, that you can have it all. You can have a high-powered career. You can be a super mom. You can be a high achiever. You can dress immaculately. You can be ultra fit. You can have it all. You can't. You can't have it all. We can fulfill our role, and we can even excel in our role. But that perfection, whatever that model is, you can't have it all. See, because if perfection is an illusion, then you're chasing after something you could never have. You can have a lot, but none of us can have it all. And so we're the dog chasing our tail type of thing. We can't really have it all. I'm not saying you can't achieve. I'm not saying go for something. I'm not saying not have goals and ambition and things like that. I'm not saying that. You can have that. The illusion is you can have it all. You can't. Can't have it all. The second lie, that was the first lie, that you can have it all. The second lie is men and women are fundamentally the same. No, we're different. We're wired different. We think different. The old metaphor, the psychological, analogy, like, women are like, closets, and, men are like dresser drawers because we compartmentalize and things like that. Yes, we do. We compartmentalize. That's why, for instance, women, you're upset, you had a bad day, it seems like all heck is breaking loose, and you're emotionally not there. So intimacy is really not on your radar. Whereas a guy can set all that stuff, all the troubles of the day to the side, and he can have intimacy. That's how we compartmentalize. So we're not really the same. Not really. Wired up a little bit differently. The third lie is desirability is enhanced with accomplishment. A lot of women today think that because they're so well accomplished, they have a lot of degrees, they have a lot, they make a lot of money, now they run their own business, they're this and that, and whatever the world says that's successful for a woman. That doesn't necessarily make you more desirable to most men. Your accomplishments is not what drives men, Hebrew men. It's good that you're ambitious. It's good that you are not lazy. But those accomplishments doesn't define you as a woman. The Most High defines you as a woman, and whether or not you're fulfilling that role. Same for guys. It only matters to guys if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, what He commands us to do. Same for women. So you can be the CEO of a company, but if you're out of order, out of line, disobedient, rebellious, all those accomplishments are not going to matter. But again, it goes back to the desirability. Yeah, sure, powerful woman, smart, accomplished. It can be pretty good, but it's not the driving factor that makes you desirable to men. Your meekness, your humility, your softness, that soft place to land that men need, that's what makes you desirable. The other stuff is simply window dressing or bonus. Lie number 4, your full potential must be realized. I.e., it says you should allow Yah to do great works in you and not rely on your knowledge, skills, intellect, etc. You see, your full potential is what the Messiah is going to give you, which is immortality. That's our full potential. Being immortal and have access into the kingdom. That's full potential. Okay. But we don't want you to feel like you're a failure if your full potential is not met. Who sets your full potential? You determine what your full potential is. If you let the world tell you what your full potential is you could be led astray. You don't need that. You don't want that. It's not necessary. So you want to be mindful of that. Lie number 5, men and women view sex in the same way. Come on. We don't. We don't see it the same way. We can be detached. Guys can be detached, Women can be detached from sex, but not naturally, not necessarily naturally that they can just be detached from sex. But men can be detached from sex. We're not the same in that regard. Just the libido alone is different. You heard the old metaphor. Women are like crock pots, men are like microwaves. So in function, we're not even the same. In libido, we're not the same. Yes, I know you're probably thinking there's an exception to every rule. Of course, there are a few exceptions to most rules, but we're not fundamentally the same. We don't view sex the same way. We do not. You know that. I'm sure you know that from experience. 6, motherhood can be postponed without penalty. Motherhood can be postponed without penalty. Now, am I one of those people who think you should be barefoot and pregnant by the time, you're 20 years old? No. However, we all know that you have a biological clock. So if you wait until you're 35, 36, 39, 40, and all that, you start to get anxious. Your biological clock starts ticking, goes faster and faster and faster, then you get desperate. Then when you're desperate, we make pretty bad decisions. So bad things can happen on the back end. Doesn't mean you have to start having kids at 17, 18, 19 years old. But what are we taught today? What's the narrative today to women, being career women, being powerful women? It's about you. And isn't the narrative also turning women against men for the most part? And now women are competing with men. I like what Dr. Umar Johnson said, that, you know, as far as the Black community, the Israelite community, it's the only community where the men and women are competing against one another. You look at the Asian community, the women are not competing with the men. And Italian and Irish and Russian and all, the women are not competing with the men. But only in the Israelite community are we comparing, you know, if the woman is smarter, if she makes more money. It's just a big competition. So that's the narrative that we face together, which is one of the reasons why it's so hard for us to come together as a nation, because there's a competitive spirit there. Plus, it's already dissension because the way the brothers look at the sisters and the way the sisters look at the brothers, that has to change before anything else change. But again, I don't want to digress. The motherhood being postponed can be pretty tough, because towards the end of it, we get desperate. So we need to get in order, get in line, get in protocol, and do it in the right way. Because we can all agree we've been doing it the wrong way. So let's just do it the right way. Line number 7, today's women should abandon softness for assertiveness, because that is the narrative. That's what we're learning today. That's what we're getting. Women have to be tough. Don't show your emotion. Don't be so soft. You know, don't worry about that, man. Get over it. Move on. All that stuff. Just being tough, assertive women. Speak your mind. What does the Bible say about that? Doesn't mean you can't share your opinion. Doesn't mean you can't voice your concerns. But do you have to be belligerent? Do you have to run the relationship to express yourself? But what are we taught today? Listen to all the songs, single ladies and all, and songs just like it. How are the women being molded today? This is one of the lies that they're told. You know, it's about being strong, independent. You don't need anybody. All you need a guy is to procreate and maybe his paycheck. That's it. You don't need the headship, don't need the leadership, don't need the guidance, don't need the soulmate. You don't need any of that. Your accomplishments will console you. Don't believe the lie, ladies. 8. Lie number 8. Speaking one's mind is better than listening. Fellas, how many guys know of women who won't shut up? How many guys know of women who has the attitude of, I'm going to say what's on my mind? Who do you think you talking to? You know, finger snapping, head wagging back and forth. Have we ever seen this? Isn't that the picture that's portrayed of the sisters that you see in the media? Black women is just nothing but attitude. They speak their mind. They're loud. They're belligerent. No class. I mean, that's the picture that's out there. I'm not saying that's how all sisters are viewed, but I'm just saying that's the picture. Look up what the Bible says about women being soft and meek, and us being wise and holding our tongue and being humble. Just look it up. Lie number 9. A woman should be self-sufficient. Is that the description of women in the Bible? All of them being self-sufficient? Because what I see is a system by which the Most High God have the women, if done right, taken care of by the men. We're supposed to take care of the widows and the orphans. Even under the Levirate structure, the brother is supposed to take the wife of his dead brother. Another picture of the women need to be taken care of, basically from cradle to grave. The girls stay with their dad until the guy comes over and pay the dowry price, that type of thing. Yes, I know we're in America. I know that's a different system, but I'm just saying that's the intent of Torah, that all women should be taken care of. Now, again, some women may be screaming by now saying, oh, you just women, you're saying that they should be dependent on men. I'm not saying you can't be self-sufficient. Heck, a lot of men forcing you guys to have to be self-sufficient because we have, fell asleep at the wheel as men. But shouldn't we by all means try to get back to our heritage and what the Most High wants us to do? Nothing wrong with building an empire. Nothing wrong with you and your husband building an empire to leave something for you and your kids. Nothing wrong with that. Why can't you work together? Why do you have to be by yourself? Why do you have to be self-sufficient? Whatever happened to strength in numbers? Whatever happened to working together? He said it's not good for man to be alone, so he made woman as a help suitable for him. So why not help each other? Yeah, there's a misconception out there that, oh yeah, the man's supposed to take care of the house and all the other stuff and the finances, and she didn't have to do anything. That's not the descriptions of the Proverb 31 woman. It's not the picture of her being lazy. See, marriage is supposed to be a team. You're supposed to work together. Do we have that today? Is that happening in our nation today? And finally, a woman should look for sensitivity, not strength, in a man. That's the 10th lie. A woman should look for sensitivity, not strength, in a man. Is this not the feminization of men, especially Israelite men today? I saw a pic the other day. Jaden Smith is now going to be the poster boy for some major fashion brand or whatever, and he wears skirts. There's an agenda out there where people are like fluid sexual, I'm not any gender. It depends on how I feel that day, that kind of thing. And you got a lot of women supporting that idea. A lot of women supporting that. Say women love sensitive guys. Guys really sensitive to their plight. Are you sure that's what you want? Because overly sensitive guys are ineffective in their leadership. They're a little too soft. See, men are supposed to be men. You might call it macho. I know in today's society, everything is just different. We have to be metrosexual, and we have to be ultra sensitive, and men and women are equal, and all this other stuff. Society's changed, but has the word of God changed? His expectations of us, have they changed? See, these are the things that we have to look out for, brothers and sisters. We have to look out for those types of things. So women, do you really want a guy overly sensitive? For instance, you could have a guy who you work, he stay home. He doesn't want to work because he's not spending enough time with the kids. He's going to miss them. Is that the kind of sensitive guy you want? Or when you jump down his case because he's not working, and he cries because you're yelling at him to go to work and pay bills and stuff. Is that the kind of sensitive you want? You want the kind of system that he wants to wear your clothes? I understand someone's sensitive to your feelings. I get it. But you want a guy who has leadership that's not based on feelings. He has to be able to execute judgment in his leadership. Can't be too overly sensitive. Because sometimes doing the right thing hurts. So do you want someone overly sensitive? You don't want strength in your man. Look, the point of this whole live stream is that we really need to start looking at the way we see ourselves in this world. Are we coming back to Torah? Are we shifting our paradigm? Are we trying to solve Israelite problems with Greco-Roman reasoning or American reasoning? That's the question. That's the question. The first thing we need to do when rebuilding our nation and getting back to Torah the best way we can, no one's going to have it perfect, but to getting it back is we have to examine ourselves. We have to study the scriptures to show ourselves approved. We have to re-examine ourselves. Then maybe, just maybe, we can be a nation again before the King returns. Till next time, Israelite Prepper, Shalom.